And so if you didn't understand that and you didn't understand what game he was playing and the long game he was playing, you wouldn't get it. In any business I own, we don't care about the next quarter or even the next year. With Micron, basically, I think it's just destination analysis. Basically, what they think will happen in the industry is that the memory guys are making about 150 billion a year top line, all three of them together. And that 150 billion, they think, goes to about 300 billion in 7 or 8 years. And we don't know whether that'll happen, whether it's 250 billion or 350 billion or where that number is, but it's likely to be around 300 billion, maybe higher. And Micron might be 75, 85 billion or something thereabouts, maybe 100 billion of that number. And so then you just say, could they be banging out something like 20, 30 billion a year in cash flow? And yeah, I think they could. And by then the market might recognize that it's not the old DRAM business anymore. That these guys, basically, even in downturns, they don't lose money. And they still skim through. The cycles used to be very high and low. We've already seen the cycles are very muted. So basically, my take is, okay, at some point, if the market believes that Micron can produce 20, 30 billion in cash flow, they will value it accordingly. So who cares about the rest? So I'll give you another example. The company I invested in, it's in India, and it's our oldest position. I bought this stock in 2015. It's a company called Rain Industries. And at that time, when we bought the company, the market cap was 200 million. And it's a very cyclical business. They provide parts to the aluminum industry and so on. But the thing is that I thought so this was a company doing 2 billion in revenue with a market cap of 200 million, 1/10 of sales. And I thought the odds were very good that they would come a single year when their cash flows in 1 year would exceed 200 million. And just like with IPSCO, I said, when that happens, I just want to see what the market does. What is the market going to do when they produce 200 million in cash flow? And what happened is in 2018, exactly that happened. They had a year that they produced 200 million cash flow. And the market took the market cap to 2 billion from 200 million. It was a 10x in less than 3 years. And of course, by then, what happened is I fell madly in love with the company and the manager and all of that. And I thought they would keep going because he was doing so many good things. And then COVID happened. And in 2020, it was down to, I think, about 300 million or less in market value. And now it's 700 or 800 million. But I think that it'll again go past that 2 billion. They'll again have a year where they'll make over 200 million. And this time I said, maybe I'll pay more attention and we'll see if we need to get off the bus at that point. But basically, let's say that happens by 2025, 3 years from now, probably high probability that would happen. And if we exited at that point, it would be a 10x in 10 years. Nothing wrong with a 10x in 10 years. Perfectly fine. Good for your health. When I run a business, I don't care about the next quarter. When Jeff Bezos runs a business, his arbitrage is that he's looking out 7 years, that people are not willing to look out 7 years. He's making bets which may not pay off for 10 years. And so whenever you're making an investment, your framework has to be the same as the guy running the business. So the way Jeff thinks about the business is the way the Amazon investors need to think about the business. And if they don't think the way Jeff does, then they're not going to really understand the business, not going to be able to hold it long enough, for the longest time, Amazon had no cash flow. They're pumping everything into growth. And so if you didn't understand that, and you didn't understand what game he was playing and the long game he was playing, you wouldn't get it. So it is completely irrelevant to me what happens next quarter to Micron's earnings. It's not even something I bother to look at. It's irrelevant. I don't know whether we'll get to $500 a share, from your mouth to God's ears, but I think we could get to a couple of $100 a share. Sure, no problem. And we bought in the 30s. And if we get to 200 or 250, he's buying back stock and so on, then it's a decent return. The thing about Micron is it's not my, I would say, highest conviction idea. We made a 10% bet. There's nothing wrong with the business. It's a good business. They've got good management. They understand capital allocation, all these things. So my take is, let it run. We got 9 other bets and we want them non-correlated. And yeah, probably at the end of the day, what will happen is 5 of them or 6 of them will work. And maybe One or two might even have a loss, and one or two might flatline or something like that. And if that actually transpires, we would have a massive home run. People always think that whatever is kind of happening at the present time, like this is the worst time. They always think that the present time is the worst. Trust me, the present time is not the worst. Okay. And also trust me, this too shall pass. There's always doom and gloom at any point in time. There's always things you can point to. The financial crisis was pretty terrible. The Great Depression was pretty terrible. The Vietnam War. There's all kinds of things always going on. I think the bottom line is that if you invested in Walmart and stayed invested throughout the period, you did really well through a very tumultuous period overall. And so it's the micro factors around a business will trump the macro factors. So Turkey is a crazy place to invest with crazy monetary policy. Our best gains in 2022 are in Turkey. We're up on our investments, solidly up, which you can't say about our US investments and so on. And there's so much to hate about Turkey. Micro trumps macro, and this too shall pass.